Here on the right-hand side, I have an old electronics project book from 1996, EKI Discover Electronics Science Lab. And this is one of the first books that I had probably when I was around 16, where, well, I already knew everything in the book. Can you believe they actually went over this stuff come on, focus, in high school? I mean, basic concepts of resistors, potentiometers, speakers, diodes, SCRs, transistors, and it has a bunch of extremely fun projects. Now, fortunately, the book is really old and it's falling apart. And what I like about it is that as you go through the book, it teaches you basic breadboarding. It goes through everything. So we begin with all your necessary required parts that you're going to need to build everything in this book. It goes throughout some of the fundamentals about how to read resistors, how electrons work, voltage, current, resistance, Ohm's law, and then it literally shows you step by step and teaches you how to breadboard, which is why I've kept this book. You don't really get a lot of good books that make you go through various projects step by step that teach you the fundamentals, but also give you the breadboarding at the same time. So again, this was from 1996, and I had to do something to preserve it because the book is kind of falling apart. And I have to admit, I really enjoy how these types of books introduce people to electronics engineering. You don't have to jump in with an Arduino or microcontrollers. You can start at the very, very basics. How are we going to get this LED to be controlled by a variable resistor and a transistor? DC to DC power supply. I mean, you don't learn stuff like that from a lot of these microcontroller projects, and I think people today that are getting into electronics are actually missing out on a lot of the bare-bone fundamentals. This is specifically what they're missing. Sure, you can get an Arduino, some jumpers, some servos, and a couple of passive components and get something going, but, okay, great. You need to make a pulse generator with an analog sine wave in hardware. How are you going to do it? Okay, well, apparently page 48 on this, audio generator. And this is one of the first things that I've used back in my phone freaking days to find out how much 555 timers suck to create DTMF tones and other multiple frequency tones. And all of these, as you go through, all of the various projects will, here we go, the variable timer, right, based off on the 555. Just a slight variation of the wake up alarm, which has a photocell. And, just using that as good stuff, real good stuff. I think we need, eBook versions of stuff like this. Oh, code oscillator, look, good old Morse code. Yeah, I already knew about that by the time I got into this project. That was a really interesting one. The electronic canary is good for annoying everyone. Some sound effect stuff. And the ultrasonic pest repeller actually does work. It spits out frequencies that the mosquitoes and other animals really hate to hear, especially myself. Okay, well, that's 20 years back on the Wayback Machine. Cheers, beers, and bunny ears, everyone.